But before we start though, Bim turns 50, boy. If you don't mind, I'll just do like a quick little preamble, right? So, Bim, classic Trinidadian film from 1974. We were both introduced it in our respective second years, I think it was, right? Yes, when we when we first saw it, right?
I think I saw it. I think there was a screening. I saw it the first time when I was in first year. I think it was then Trevor's R.I.P. Trevor's, right? Not Trevor himself. I think he's still alive, pretty sure that. But the bar is gone. But I think it had a screening in the bar at the time, and that's why I think I first saw it.
Yeah, okay. Well, right. I know about Trevor's, but I didn't know that they had a screening there, right? But yeah,
these have like random little screenings ever so often. It's like, however, remember on all the tables it had like Sister God. Shots from Sister God on the tables. Mm-hmm. It was hilarious.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, but it as I say, screenings, right? It is one of those shows that that have been I would say kind of continues to resonate in the public conscious, right? Especially when it comes to film, right? Because still to this day, for me, this is the film that kind of shows, hey, I can make a film that is about something that really do things,
Yeah, that is when I first saw it, I was really shocked at how smart this movie was. Like,
yes,
this is a really smart movie. Who write this? And then when I see the credits, Raoul Pantin, okay, that makes perfect sense because he was a really smart dude.
Yes.
And what happened with this is that is a movie that I was like, wait, they make this, and when they make this in 1974, what? Yeah. And then I look up who the director was. Like, what? There's a black fellow directed, but like most of the cast was Indian. What's going on here? Mm-hmm. Like, get this now.
Yeah, and that was crazy, man. Yeah.
But I even though Jamaica has a better, somewhat better film conceit, to me this is much better than almost every Jamaican film I know. Local, like
even the How They Come.
Yes, even How Did They Come? Like, I like this one on How Did They Come in terms of like what we're talking about, in terms of what it's talking about, how in terms of like what the references is, and I'll admit a little bias obviously because Trini, but like just like the history of it, because it is a historical film in the time, right?
Yes,
it's 1974. This was the time period of republic, the formation of a republic, but they go on back to the time of independence or leading up to that. It's like, wait, but it's real smart, boy, like. This, like, somebody at the time had to be well researched and understanding material and so on. And like, what's all of this, Judd? And so, go ahead, sir.
Yeah. But as far as comparing it to the How They Come, I mean, I love both, but I don't know. I guess at some point I have to sit down and really decide for myself which I prefer more than the other.
The only thing that pulls this movie down, I'll admit, is that it's 4/3 of a movie.
Because it kind of stops at a point. You're like, nah, man, give us more.
Because it stops. Then it basically becomes Bim 2 at the end.
Yep.
It's like 4 acts, but it's 3 acts of a full story, and then the first act of quote unquote Bim 2. Yeah, and then it ends. You could have cut out that whole section and then
that we never got. Unfortunately.
Right. Yeah. Right. It's weird. It's weird when they cut it.
Right. But I'm gonna wrap up the whole anniversary thing, right? So 2 things. One, 10 years ago, right? So that would be 2014. I didn't think about it at the time, right? But there was a 40th anniversary celebration of the movie. So what happened? It was a Sunday, right? And Palladium, R.I.P. Palladium, right? That's
Palladium played it. Yeah.
One of 2 cinemas in Tunapuna, right?
Yeah,
played it, right? Sunday night. I went to that just so I could kind of brag and boast and be like, yo, I saw Bim in big screen, right? And boy, just the atmosphere of that screening still resonates with me throughout to this day, man. It was just such a magical time, though. It felt literally like I was seeing it for the first time in 1974 with a large crowd, right? And in the process, I ended up buying the movie itself because it was on DVD, right? And unfortunately, it was the same quality that is, still making the runs, that same VHS quality. But why I bought it in particular was it also came with a soundtrack. Yes, I actually have the original soundtrack from Andrew Tanker, R.I.P., right? And yeah, I mean, that was like a gold mine to me, right? And I think for the 45th anniversary, that would be in 2019. Again, I wasn't really thinking about it. The TNT Film Festival actually had a screening of it in Movietown. But I didn't bother because it's like, I have it on DVD. I don't really need to bother, right? But yeah, when it comes to the 50th now, there was just not so much a screening, but there's basically some people who are well known in the film community here in Trinidad, talking about the history of the film and why it still resonates, right? But yeah, unfortunately, I didn't get the chance to check check it out. That was a couple days ago at the time of us recording this. But yeah, Ricardo, you went. So yeah, take it away. How was the BIM at 50 celebration? How was that?
Yeah. So this was it was a real small affair, and I enjoyed it. It was pretty good. It was a somewhat hamstrung, somewhat unfortunately hamstrung because of some audio technical issues here or there. Um, but for the most part, it was pretty good. It was just people talking. It was they got basically a full a full crew of people who was hosting, and they were great coming through. So I think the moderator was Dr. Brunton. This guy was, I don't know who this person is. And then you had, well, everybody else I knew on the panel. This was, well, Dr. Yao Ramsa himself, Mandisa Pandin, Gideon Hanumansing, and Professor Bridget Beretta, sorry. And yeah, is the four of them just effectively not only reminiscing about doing the actual full history of the film, or at least the contextual history of the film, leading up to the film, and then the context of leading up to the events of that the film is based on, because it's a entirely fictitious film that uses characters as stand-ins for certain real historical figures, and then the actual like history of the film itself, and from the context of multiple people. And yeah, the panel was great. Brereton herself, she started off with the actual like core history of it. She gets into the lead up of independence, and then in the context of when the film was being written, which is the time of Republic in Trinidad. Mandisa herself, she references her. Well, she was born after the film came out, like a year after. So she references how she didn't see the film until coming to do the film program herself. In context of her father writing the film, she kind of talks about how she visualizes the film, and then the context of race in from her own perspective. She being effectively a Gen Xer, her time period at least, and how to when you're learning about race or why you learn about race, and in the context of the film and the history of that, and then that aspect of it. Hanuman Singh, he has a lot of like literally personal experience in the events of the film, and then how the film contextualizes, what he experienced during the period of the independence. And then Yao does a grander, you know, recontextualization of race, but mostly the history of, well, the director himself, Hugh Roberts. What he was up to, other films he did. Remember, he was kind of a big deal because he was nominated for Oscar for Midnight Cowboy. All of that stuff I knew, and then other movies he did, which I didn't know, and then so I learned a good bit from Yao in the history of what Hugh Robertson was doing in relation to his family and his wife, and who owned the film and whatnot. And again, he gets into like a lot of older histories. Again, it's unfortunate the audio tucked out at parts. So it was kind of throwing me off. I couldn't focus and kind of keep working memory of what they were trying to say, because it was just all these interruptions, and the song people was taking a while to sort it out, unfortunately. But it was solid stuff. Like, it was just a really good bounce off. It was just a nice 2 hour talk, and I think they stayed an extra hour to thing. I more or less I just talked to Mandis and Yao, and then I left after that. But I just they were showing little clips of the film on the side, and then that small enough garden. I think it was like roughly about 15 to 20 people. And yeah, it was just a nice talk. I thought this was great. I think they'll put this up online, because I think the guy who was doing the recording, he got all the audio. So it's not like any of the audio was lost in him. So when they put it up online, hopefully they'll put it up online. We'll get the full thing with the proper audio. But like those who there live, one of the speakers was given trouble, so that was unfortunate. But that's it. Good panel. I thought it was great. I didn't expect a too big of a crowd, so it was fine. And yeah, I just thought it's just a good context of it. And just talking about the actual history of this film itself, and what it meant, in the context of like, well, why is it we didn't get any other movies on this level of quality? Because that's the thing with the film. It's just a damn good movie. Like, it just well cut together, well paced, well edited, direction, camera work, just as everything on a production level is up there. And I don't think we have any other local film on this level. You could see the level of craftsmanship involved, right? Hugh Robertson is a pro, right? Full stop. And what they do with it, one big thing they contextualize is, well, Hugh Robertson himself, like what kind of a story he told. And one really interesting thing I learned, and I didn't know this, which was this was from Mandisa, is the fact that her dad wrote it as raw as possible. Raul Pantin, he wrote it as raw as possible thinking stuff would be shaved back and cut. Because like one big part of this film is the actual censorship of the film, and this is what we're going to get into. Is like, yeah, Trinidad, unfortunately, we're in many ways the more insidious aspects of neo-colonialism when it comes to like just doing something. We have more money, but we're not like culturally more like awakened, for lack of a better term, right? So this film was heavily censored. The film is almost like buried in history. It's shocking how very few people know about this movie, right? I mean, and it's not to say that no one knows who Ralph Maraj is. So even like Ralph Maraj, like I know Ralph Maraj, a politician, but I don't know like he was an actor for years or until I was an adult. Like what, Ralph Maraj was an actor? All right. And then he was the star of this amazing movie. So it's like, why did they promote this movie more? And so there's a whole thing like that. There's and we could get into that whole aspect of we still kind of for lack of a better term stuck in the matrix in that sense, right? And I just thought, just knowing that Raoul Panton wrote it as raw as possible, expecting it to be pulled back on, and it didn't. Right, maybe just through sheer laziness or whatever, but it didn't. So we got like as good of a script as we could get, as raw as it could get, and as for lack of a better term, pretty realistic. It's like, yeah, this feeling like the time period. Like my dad or my granddad would have like have working memory of this, right? My mom and her dad would have working memory of this and this kind of stuff, and they make it work. I think I have no problem saying this is a great film, and mostly because how smart the damn script is. Like this is something, yeah, no joke. I have no problem like remaking this, straight up remake it. In the time period, we obviously had to spend more money to make it look like the time period of it when it's around the period of independence or whatnot. But like something like that, right? And make it work, and get something done on that level. But for now, we could just clean it up. That's one of the big problems. We need to, I don't know, like I had to call Scorsese myself, right? And just get the film, get the film stuff. And if I understand, it's Robertson's wife who's still alive. She still has control of this, and it's a lot of it's to do with money and a lot of drama with respect to that. I don't know, right? I don't want to say people's name or nothing like that, but like from what I understand, it's relatively within ease. It's just who to pay and how much money you had to jump up. And at the end of the day, people don't care about the film enough to jump up and say, all right, like just really sit down and clean this up. I have some efforts being done, but that's more on the new digital end of things, and I'm still not satisfied with any of that as it is. But it's how the amount of work I had to go into it. It's that. And in the end, the only way to do that is actually getting the film sorted out itself, that kind of stuff. As far as I know, the film is still in existence. It's still there. It's just, you had to sort it, you had to clean it up. And this is one of the great, great examples of lost media, especially Trinidadian lost media. So that's that. But this was a nice little, I didn't waste my time, as they say, right? I came in, I just chill out. I enjoyed the thing, later that night, had a gyro and beer, so I enjoyed my night. So that was that. This was nice. It's a really good little sort of little panel, just smart people talking some serious shit, and they make it work. This was nice. Bim's 50 is excellent. I enjoyed it. So yeah.
Yeah, for a sec I thought you was gonna pick up the gyro vendor.
No. I buy the gyro quite down south. But yeah, big up to that gyro vendor. It vibes because it's a nice little Venezuelan place, and right next to my favorite bar down south right now. Well, I say that down south is only because it is walking distance from my house, right? But shout out to Watering Hole on them, right? That's right. So, well.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, if I could just say one thing about Bim turning 50, right? I mean, yes, that is a huge milestone. So I'm not going to make this a plea, to the powers that be to please restore the film and please and, do all these things, right?
Right.
But I just more want to talk about how, the rest of the world respond to it, right? So for those who don't know, right, I am a huge Criterion Collection fan, right? Like I absolutely love their catalog. I'm always amazed at just how much titles get worked into their catalog every single month, right? Whether it's stuff that I know about or like just indie films or stuff that I just heard about for years. About what? That make it to the Criterion Collection? What? Okay, no problem, right? And fun fact, The Hardicum was one of their earlier releases. It was released on DVD, right? But I think like Shout Factory actually like re-released it for an anniversary or something like that, right? But Criterion have yet to re-release it, right? But whatever. But yeah, point is, as far as like how I picture Bim, like what should say the reason why a restoration of this movie matters, right? Why it will work is that the rest of the world, especially people who are just avid movie fans. And, it's not like they just stick with one type of film or one type of director. They always seek out great films, right? Regardless of what country they're from. Imagine if somebody from another corner of the world hears about this movie, it's like stumbles upon it, right? And like, it's coming out on Blu-ray, right? Or 4K restoration features, interviews with E.R. Ramazan and, Madisa Patton.
Right.
They're going to be excited.
Do something, yeah.
They're going to be excited, you know what I mean? So let's just say somebody like me, like let's just say I was living somewhere else in the world and I heard, there's a movie from 1974 in Trinidad coming out on Blu-ray, courtesy of the Criterion Collection. Of course, I'm going to jump on board with that, right? And that's the beauty of that company, right? That is that it introduces, film buffs like me to just a treasure trove of great films, right? And, and point again at this, it's not like, you're just going to go for shows that it's just like, this looks interesting. I like the trailer. I want to see this for myself. And you actually experience something new and it becomes part of your life or part of your collection, right? And that's how I picture BIM being, years from now, right? That other people from around the world are going to be introduced to this film and experience it and understand the history and want to learn more about it, right? That's how I picture it, right? And while I do appreciate how we continue to keep its name alive, right? I mean, it's just 3 letters, right? And that's great, right? But this should be a greater push to kind of push it out there to the rest of the world. Because that's why, the Hardy Come is so well known all around the world, right?
Yeah.
Not just with the theatrical run it had in the States back in the 70s, right? But because of how it just continued to be talked about and be distributed through whether it's VHS or DVD, home media in period now, so that's what I think the direction of, BIM and other films that we make as well, should go as well. Not just, we just have it there and we just have these random screenings every year, it should go out to the rest of the world, right? That's why I think, the whole, just restoring it and re-releasing it. That's the important part too. Re-releasing it to a new audience. I think that's why it matters, right? Not just for us, but for the rest of the world as well. So here's hoping that somebody or some entity actually, looks at this film and says, you know what? Yes, I want to put this out in the world. Let me see what I can do. And boom, you see, you go on Amazon.com and you see BIM, in Blu-ray or 4K, whatever it is, nice cover art and all that kind of stuff. That's my dream. That's something that I've always dreamt about for years, right? So yeah, I just hope that I could see that becoming a reality. I don't know if you have anything to weigh in on, why it's important to actually restore and re-release this film.
No, yeah, again, unless you actually get the film stock itself, that's take real work, in that sense. So that's why I don't really again, unless you call Scorsese himself, right, to deal with the thing. Somebody had to really sit down, and for understand that's very costly. But for now, I could see somebody doing it on the digital end, just taking the crappy quality from the DVD or the YouTube, and then improving on that or building on that from just a color perspective. And it have a lot of decent software that could do something. This also takes time, but it's not as costly or time consuming as say going to the original film form. So I can imagine somebody pulling that off in a relatively short space of time and giving that product. I'm not sure how that'll be revealed, but that's nothing to it. I mean, look, it's just in the end, you just have to spend money. Well,
yeah, that's true, and of course, just lastly, sound will be an issue as well, right? Foley,
right.
Voice acting.
Well, it's the same. It's the same thing. It's the same thing with song. It's just that interpolation song stuff. In fact, sound interpolation are a lot better than video interpolation now. As it is. So it's the same thing. In terms of just filling in the space as an editor, what should be here and what shouldn't be here. And that ain't hard to do. And you just get somebody who will either know the film in and out, production wise, and just sit down and work that out. That also not that hard. So that's it.
Yeah. So yeah, man, BIM at 50, happy 50th anniversary. I don't know what the 55th anniversary, celebration will involve. But yeah, I do hope that, more people, are attuned to that film, man. And yeah, you're right. This is a classic film. I believe this to be a timeless film. This is one that's really going to stand the test of time, though. And just to close things off, I especially with the landscape of film being as it is right now, digital, we're always looking to, what's going on right now, currently in the States and whatnot. But I do hope that this film continues to inspire filmmakers and film fans, young and old, right? to just pursue film in whatever lane or medium, right? It doesn't have to be behind the camera. It could be talking about film like what we're doing. It could be writing a screenplay, you know what I mean, or producing or something, right? But yeah, I do hope that this film continues to inspire us, just basically to make more films, and that's it.
Right.